welcome to Holiday Cooking Classes. I'm Susan Irby. My trade name is the Bikini Chef, and that's why I don't always wear this cute chef coat, but I had it made. The Bikini Chef story is, grew up in Alabama, and we were water skiing all day, and we wouldn't want to change into our regular clothes, so we cooked in our bikini. And I wrote a book a long time ago that kind of started my culinary career, Cooking with Susan, Southern Family Favorites. And when I was selling the book and doing my book tour, people always ask, why do you like to cook? And I say, it reminds me of home and cooking in our bathing suits. And they're like, that makes you the bikini chef, and the name stuck. So it's COVID, schmovid. So I have these, right? I ordered these super fun masks. And they are the Bikini Chef approved. Yay! So if you would like to order your Bikini Chef masks, I'm going to put them on my online store, just for fun. It's a hoot, right? And I wanted to say we've had a lot of people sign up. So we have participants from Canada, Tennessee, Georgia, California, of course, Florida, and not everybody can make the time zones. And even when we're in a pandemic, people are busy. So I'm recording each class, and whoever registers will send you the recording so that you can refer back to it and watch it and hopefully enjoy the recipes and have a great time. So let's get started. So today's recipe is, hi Brandy. Today's recipe is a pear salad with a cranberry vinaigrette and Stilton blue cheese. So there's a few steps that are involved. And Brandy, since you're on, if I'm going to have people put their questions in the chat channel, if you want to monitor the chat channel. And then, of course, if you want to alert me or whatever, just, you know the drill, unmute and just ask the question or whatever. So I'm so excited. Okay, so my first tip is, in the recipe, we have toasted walnuts. And I have the easiest way to toast walnuts is to just put them in like a 225-degree oven. And you could leave them in there seriously for like an hour. If you forget about them, they're not going to burn. So these have been in for a while. I already toasted them. But one thing I wanted to show you about that was I use this little Silpat. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with it. It says, Brandy's laughing. She's like, yeah, I know that. I've got that. It's a silicone patented material, and it heats up to 500 degrees, 450 degrees actually. So you can't use it under the broiler, but you can use it, for toasting the walnuts and baking biscuits. Brandy and I like to bake biscuits and all kinds of things. But it's super easy to clean, and it can go in the dishwasher. And then you just roll it up and toss it in your pantry, right? Okay, so Brandy, you missed it at the top, but I had Bikini Chef face mask made. So everybody can be Bikini Chef approved. I love it. Okay, now we're going to start with our vinaigrette. Okay, very simple recipe. Brandy, you know what? I'm so sorry. I think I forgot to email you there. No. I posted it. I sent it to
you. You posted it.
Yeah, I posted it in our Slack channel. Okay, so we have whole cranberry sauce. And the reason why you want to use whole cranberries is just because it just gives a nice texture to the recipe. All right. And I'm going to use about half a cup. and toss it in my mixing bowl. Okay, for you guys, I'll measure it. I'll actually measure half a cup. A lot of times, I've been cooking so long, I can just guess, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So half a cup of whole cranberry sauce. It's just in a can, and I don't use a ton of canned stuff, but for this, it's so much easier than taking like real cranberries and doing it yourself. So I just used, your classic whole berry though, not the mushed cranberry sauce. And that's for texture, flavor, and color, of course. Then I'm going to add some orange juice. Okay, so I'm going to take my knife. Real quick tip is those of you who love to cook, obviously you like to cook or you wouldn't be here. The most knife accidents happen with a dull knife, so you want to make sure that you have a sharp knife. Okay, so I know, don't let me scare you, but you just take your thumb and just kind of tap the edge, and if it catches a little, then it's sharp, and if it doesn't, then it's not. And I just use a little handheld sharpener like this. It has a ceramic blades here, and you just pull it through. So hopefully you can kind of see that. You just do that a couple of times, and that makes a sharp knife. So there are those, the long steel blades. Those actually don't really sharpen the knife. They help flatten the edges out after you use the sharpener. Then you want to take a towel and wipe it off for any nitty gritty stuff. Okay. So for our orange, I use a navel orange because they don't have seeds. And I'm just going to slice it in half. And then I'm going to quarter it. And then quite frankly, because oranges are big, I'll show you what I'm going to use in a minute, my little citrus juicer. But I use my lemon press. And so this is going to be about 1 orange. And I just used my lemon press, and I'm going to press it into my bowl, which I don't think you can see the bowl yet. But hopefully you can see me pressing the orange juice. So I just put the orange juice in there like that. And I'll just do a couple so I don't bore you with doing the whole orange. If you have any questions or comments, write them in the chat channel. I'll be happy to answer them. This is a great holiday recipe. One of the reasons why I love this holiday recipe is because you can make the vinaigrette like a few days ahead of time. And then it's super quick and easy. It has the colors of the holiday season. And it tastes good. And it's good for you. Okay, so I'll just do half the orange so you're not bored with me juicing oranges. Alrighty. Okay, so then our next ingredient is going to be olive oil. I actually had a friend of mine ask me the other day, like, what is a good everyday olive oil? Bertolli makes a good one. The one I have in my pantry right now is this Pompeii, and they sell this, at their regular everyday store. It's not super expensive. It's a decent quality olive oil. They have smooth and robust. Another friend of mine likes the robust flavor. I'm good with either one. I kind of agree with her though. Like robust flavors can be nice, but I don't cook with olive oil. I used to until I studied food healing and the properties in olive oil, especially extra virgin. It doesn't have a high cooking temperature, so I actually cook with grapeseed oil. So for cooking at high temperature, grapeseed oil, when you're making your favorite popcorn on the stovetop, as I know you all do, you don't use that microwave popcorn. Use grapeseed oil instead of extra virgin olive oil, and reserve the olive oils for recipes like this, vinaigrettes and drizzling and things of that nature. Then we're going to add some balsamic vinegar. I love balsamic vinegar because it's so versatile. You can actually take about, let's say you take a cup and a half of balsamic vinegar and put it in a small saucepan over low heat, and you can reduce it down, and it makes a really nice balsamic syrup. Maybe we'll do that in a future recipe. And then you can drizzle that syrup on, say, pears, nuts, strawberries. It's really delicious. But today we're just going to use it as a traditional vinaigrette ingredient. And I'm using a 2-to-1 ratio. A lot of times for my salad dressings, I'll do an equal ratio. So 1 part olive oil, 1 part balsamic. But I really want this to have a little bit more acidic flavor and to kind of balance out the sweetness of the cranberry sauce. So I'm using 2 tablespoons of balsamic. And I put my lid over here. Okay, now we're going to use a little bit of honey. I like to support my local farmers. So this is a local organic honey from a place in San Juan Capistrano. And I think by now, you know, most places where we're all living have really cool local farms and farmers markets and things like that where you can get a nice local organic honey. So I'm just going to use a teaspoon. You don't need a lot because the cranberry sauce has quite a bit of sugar already. And so I'm just going to use just about a half a teaspoon or so of this yummy honey. This is one of my favorite ingredients. Like for breakfast, I'll do a sprouted bread, lightly toasted with some almond butter. And then I'll put a little drizzle of organic honey on it. Then I'll even put like a sprinkle of bee pollen. Bee pollen gives you natural energy. And so if you're really busy and active, living that active lifestyle, bee pollen is really great. And then of course I'll put some flaxseed and black sesame seeds. That would be a fun class to do too. Okay, one of my next favorite ingredients is fresh ginger root. And ginger root comes in all these funky sizes and shapes. And even though it's kind of priced expensively at the supermarket, you're not buying a whole bunch of it. So just even if you're at the supermarket and let's say that you only want to buy like that much, don't be afraid to just go ahead and break it off at the store. You don't have to buy the big thing. Just break it off, what you need, and take it home. Hopefully, I don't know if you can see this. If I hold it here, can you see that? No, maybe? No, not really. All right, let me move my camera a little. There. Okay, so just want to take a teaspoon, any kind of spoon, and just scrape off the skin. Just like that. Okay. You can chop it off too, with a knife. But the problem is when you chop it off with a knife, you chop off a lot of the root. So if you want to maximize the root's benefit and the money you just spent to buy it, then just scrape it with a spoon. Okay. Awesome. There. Okay, so I just scraped that part off. And I'll just toss that in my bowl. And yeah, so I only want, let's see, I want like a teaspoon. It smells so good. That's the only problem with virtual cooking is you can't smell all the wonderful smells in the kitchen. Maybe for good or worse, they'll come up with a smell cam. I'm not sure that we want that. Right? Okay. So you really want it pretty well minced just because this is going to be drizzled over and you don't want to get any one serving to have just like a big chunk of ginger root. Okay. There we go. Put that in my bowl. Okay, and then I'm just going to add a little pinch of sea salt. The salt that I use is actually a kosher salt. You don't have to use kosher salt. You can just use regular sea salt. But please do not use iodized salt. Okay, I'm going to move my camera back up a little bit. Oh, by the way, whoever can tell me first, the first person to tell me or to state what color bikini I'm wearing under my bikini chef coat, I will send you a free cookbook of your choice from my website, which is that's a big deal because I have a lot of cookbooks on my website. Okay, and that's it. It's so simple. So I'm just going to use my whisk up my vinaigrette. Now, this is a wonderful recipe. Today we're using it on salads and put it over pears. However, you could put this over like roasted chicken, roasted pork tenderloin. You could use this as a sauce for any kind of like yummy protein. It would be amazing. All right, and that's it for the vinaigrette. Again, as I said, you could make that ahead of time, 2 days before, 3 days before. Make a whole bunch of it if you like it, and then just keep it in the refrigerator. I would say you could keep that in the refrigerator in an airtight container for about a week, okay, not longer than that. Now we're going to make our salad. So I wanted to show you bib lettuce is also known as butter lettuce. In my store, I don't know about you, but the only way I can buy it anymore is like the living butter lettuce. So you can see I washed it, but I left it intact so that you could see how they sell it. And even though that's really sweet, and it probably helps them, it keeps it fresher longer. It's a little bit annoying when you bring it home because it's really dirty. So you really need to chop off the roots and wash it off. What I did was I took off a few leaves and just rinsed them because I wanted you to see. In my store, they don't sell it any other way nowadays. They used to, but they don't now. So, and good for them, if it lasts longer that way. But I just took 3 of the leaves, washed them, and I put them on a serving plate. This recipe serves 6 people. So you would line up your 6 plates, put your leaves on, and then you're ready to go. So next we have pears. Who loves pears? I know, me too. I really wanted to use an Asian pear for this recipe. Asian pears are like those bigger ones, they're bigger and more round as opposed to this shape. But they didn't have any good ones, any good quality ones at the grocery store when I went. So this is a Bosch pear. And then this one is a red pear. And no, it doesn't come with a core sticking out of it. I just did that so you could see. I used an apple core to take out the center, the stem of the pear. Love these things. If you don't have one, I highly recommend it. And that's it. So you just take out the middle. The reason why I'm going to kind of go with the red pear is more for color than anything, although we do have quite a bit of red already. So maybe that's not a good idea. Let's try the other one. But I also wanted to show you this. So instead of peeling the whole pear, let's just take the vegetable peeler and shave off a few portions of the pear. I do this with cucumbers too. So if I'm using cucumber, I have a wonderful recipe for cucumber mousse with caviar. Sounds very expensive and it looks very expensive, but it's not very expensive and it's totally yummy. But cucumber mousse with caviar, and you serve it on a slice of cucumber. And I do that with the cucumbers so that you kind of, it's pretty, you know, you have the skin and the cucumber slices, the flesh there too. Let me try. Hopefully my apple core will cooperate as easily on the first one. Okay, it is and it isn't. Not quite cooperating like the last one, but we'll give it a go. There. Okay. So, yeah, I think we'll use the Bosch pear instead of the red pear for the salad because we have enough red already. And I'm just going to slice through my pear. A little bit of the root end was left on, so we'll trim that off. But most of the seeds are out, which is the whole point of coring it. And then I'm just going to, oh, I think you can see that a little. Let me move the camera again. Oh, Kelly's here. Hi, Kelly.
Hello.
So I'm just going to dice up my pear, get the seeds out. Pears are super versatile. They're great for this time of year. Super delicious, lots of fiber, lots of water content in pear. You need about 2 pears for this recipe to serve 6 people. I'm just going to do that portion and then I'll just toss it in here. Okay, so then the next thing we're going to do is toss the pear with the orange juice. So what that does is it gives a little bit of flavor boost, but it also helps keep the pear from turning brown because you have that citric acid. So I'm going to take the orange and I'm just going to go ahead and put it right into the bowl with the pear because we're going to toss the pear with that anyway. Any questions so far? Any comments? Anything that you would do differently? Anything that you have a question about? No?
I was just going to say, I think the apple core is really neat, and I want to pick one of those up.
Oh, they're awesome. They're awesome. And I don't know if your husband helps you clean up the kitchen. My companion does. He's really great about that. You know, he gets up way earlier than I do. So he's so sweet. He'll have everything in the dishwasher put away, but he puts it away in a different place every single time. I can never find it. But I don't complain because I'm just grateful that he does it, right? So our next ingredient is a red onion. The reason why I selected a red onion is because they have kind of that pungent flavor, but it's slightly sweet with that little hint of acid. And of course, color. A colorful plate is a healthy plate. If you've ever taken any of my cooking classes before, you know that I say that all the time. I learned that from my mom. She was a culinary arts and nutrition major. And so I learned pretty much all the basics of cooking from her. So the recipe uh, I have instructed for you to do whole slices. So if you're going to do that, I should take off the whole outer skin, but there's not that much on there, and I didn't want to lose that really amazing outer layer, but I will. So the acid in the orange juice will help relax the flavor of the red onion a little bit. And if you're going to slice an onion whole like this, as opposed to putting it in half and then having a flat surface to work off of, you want to take the side of the onion and then just shave off a little bit of it. Okay, so you want to do that so that you're working on a flat surface. So it's not enough to change the shape necessarily of the onion ring, but it is enough to where you're working on a flat surface so that the onion doesn't move and you don't, end up slicing your hand. I learned these tips by experience. So, so then we'll just separate them into rings. Okay, and they'll be really pretty on the plate. All right, and then our next ingredient is our Stilton blue cheese. So Stilton blue cheese, the difference is it's kind of like champagne versus sparkling wine. So Stilton blue cheese is actually from England. It's so that's why it's allowed to be called Stilton blue cheese. But if you can't find Stilton blue cheese is fine. You can also use Gorgonzola. Gorgonzola is the Italian version of a blue cheese. These are cow's milk cheeses. So if you are lactose intolerant for some reason, you can't have any cow's milk whatsoever, you can use sheep's milk cheese, such as like a Pecorino Romano. Those are going to be a little bit more salty though. So the reason why I selected the blue cheese is because it has that really strong flavor and it's going to help balance out the acid and the sweetness in the recipe. So there's our blue cheese. And then here are our toasted walnuts. So now let's build our salad. Right. So I already put our bib lettuce down. I think you can see it. And I'm going to take our pears that we tossed in the orange juice. I'm just going to put those right on here. Now remember, in the full recipe, you'll be using 2 pears. So you have plenty of pear for this. Variations, I put variations for you on the recipe. I would add maybe some, if you did shrimp, I would do probably like a grilled shrimp instead of a marinated shrimp. And there's a lot of citrus in here already, so probably wouldn't do a citrus marinated shrimp. I'm gonna put our onion slices there and add on some cheese. Yum. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the vinaigrette. Use this Boom. And just drizzle it over the top. See, we have a nice, dense burgundy color with the cranberry. Yum. And then I'm going to finish it with a couple of toasted walnuts. Now, I left mine whole. You can chop them up if you like, but I kind of prefer mine whole. That's it. It's super simple. But you could, as I said, you could add some chicken to it. You could add some pork tenderloin medallions. You could add a lot of things to this recipe. There you go. So what do you think? I think this would be a great little holiday gathering salad. You could do a brunch. You know, back when we could all get together, we could do a ladies' brunch and serve this with some, you know, like I said, like some diced cooked chicken breast. We could do tuna if we wanted. We could do, I don't know if I'd want to do like a steak, but I think like a pork or a chicken would be best. Yeah, so awesome. So what questions do you have for me?
Is there any alternative to the blue cheese? I just don't like blue cheese, but I I'm open to the taste, but what would you suggest?
Do you like goat cheese?
I don't know. I've never tried it.
Goat cheese would be amazing. Goat cheese would be
Okay.
my because it's still the flavor of goat cheese is strong enough to where it would hold up against the cranberry and
Hmm.
citrus, but yet still probably be more satisfying to your palate if you're not a big fan of that blue
Oh,
cheese.
okay. Okay.
I would try goat
I'll have to
cheese.
try it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to try it. Awesome. And I,
Yeah, like I'm saying, like the Pecorino Romano cheeses. I mean, you could do a Gorgonzola, but Gorgonzola is still very similar to blue cheese, so you probably wouldn't care for that. So I would try a goat cheese.
okay. Definitely will try it.
Anyone else? No? Okay. All right. What was our comment in the chat channel? Was it what bikini
I
color?
said I guessed black and white, but now that I'm looking at it, is it blue and white?
It's blue and white.
Because I
Yeah.
couldn't tell because you were moving, so I was like, is that black and white?
That's okay if nobody else guessed, then you get a free cookbook of your choice. I'll send you the selections that are on my website and you can select which one that you would like.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you all for joining me today. Next week, we're going to do a creamy fennel soup with a lump crab meat. And I know sometimes soups don't sound super exciting, but this is a really delicious recipe. I use fennel, which is kind of an ingredient that is unfamiliar to a lot of people. Tastes a little bit like licorice, but not when you blend it with all of the other ingredients. And then that recipe will incorporate different cooking techniques and different health benefits. The health benefits in this salad, you know, with the ginger root, we boost the immune system. Onion is also an antiviral immune booster. I don't know if people really know that. Walnuts are a great brain food. The cranberry, anything that's going to be really colorful like that is going to have a lot of antioxidants. And of course, lettuce. If you don't drink your water, you can eat your water with lettuce. And the pears, too, have a high water content. So, very healthy dish, flavorful dish, super simple. And then next week, we'll be doing a pureed soup. So, that can be tricky. Hopefully I won't explode the soup in the kitchen. All right, well, thank you all so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Each class is recorded, so if you miss a class, I will send you the private link to the class and the recipe. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Bye, Susan.
Bye, Patty. Bye, Kelly. Bye, Brandy.
Bye.
Record.